Hey, 7th graders, how are you guys? I miss you guys. I'm a little under the weather, so I thought I'd record a video for you guys to watch. Make sure you are taking notes, just like I would normally have you do in class. Okay, so you can look at what's going on later on when you go to do your homework. We're going to start off super basic with Chapter 2. Chapter 2 focuses on integers, and we're going to learn how to apply all the operations to integers, which will help us later on with algebra. So today is just to kind of compare integers and order them and just get a feel for them, okay, on a number line. So the first definition is the word opposite, and the opposite of a number is the same distance from 0 on a number line as the original number. So that's a lot of words, but what you need to know is that if you have a positive number, the opposite is the negative number. So for example, if you have -5, the opposite is +5. If you have +12, the opposite is -12. 0 is special. It's kind of got its own opposite. It's in and of itself. It's self-contained, if you will. So 0 doesn't really have an opposite. It's just 0. So if you look at this number line, you see that -4 is 4 units away from 0, and so is +4. So therefore, they are opposite of each other. Okay, now we're going to talk about what an integer actually is. So I don't really like this definition, but if you want to write it down, it's okay. Your book calls integers the set of whole numbers and their opposites. I like to call it the set of positive and negative whole numbers. I think it just makes a little more sense to say it that way. So I would write down all positive and negative whole numbers are integers. Okay, so if we look at a number line, the number line is going to help us quite a bit. If you look at a number line, so here's our number line. We're used to seeing 0 and then everything to the right. We're going to look now to the stuff on the left. So just like any other number line, if you're heading to the left, your numbers are getting smaller. If you're heading to the right, your numbers are getting bigger. So let's take the integer -7. We're going to graph that. And we see that it's 7 units away from 0. Okay? Then we want to graph its opposite, another 7 units away from 0 to the right, and it's +7. So the opposite of -7 is 7. So without even looking at the number line, what's the opposite of -5? +5. Okay? All right, now we're going to also use the number line to compare the integers. And when you first start off, if you want to use a number line, I would suggest using a number line. But when you get more comfortable with the numbers, you probably won't need a number line. So I want to compare +4 and -4. So if I look at my number line here, if I graph those two numbers, so I've graphed -4, I've graphed +4, the one that's to the left is smaller than the one that's to the right. So if I'm reading this 4 is to the right. So this 4 is bigger than -4, so we're going to use the greater than symbol. Okay, so 4 is greater than -4. That one's pretty straightforward. The next one is slightly tricky because you see the number 15 and you're like, oh, it's big. Well, it is, but we're talking now -15. So I want to compare -15 and -9 on a number line. And I notice that -15 is way off to the left here. So this is actually smaller than this -9. So we're going to say -15 is less than -9. Okay, so like I said, if you want to use a number line just to kind of compare things, you can. Once you get the gist of it or the hang of it, you might not need a number line. And the same thing goes for this next example where we're talking about a bunch of integers now. We have 6 integers and we want to order them from least to greatest. So smallest to biggest. So if I look at my number line and I plot all 6 of these, okay, I have -8, -5, -3, 0, 2, and 6. They're all plotted on this number line. If I'm talking least to greatest, smallest, so the smaller it is, the more left it is, to the greatest, the more right it is. So you literally just write these in the order of smallest to greatest. -8, -5, -3, 0, 2, and 6. All right, let's try this one. We have -5, 4, -3, 2, -1, and -2. So again, let's plot these numbers. It shows you on the number line where those are. And now we're doing least to greatest or smallest to greatest. So we would start all the way to the left is our least. -5, -3, -2, -1, 2, and 4. Okay? Just be careful if the directions ask greatest to least, you want to start over on the right side and work your way to the left. So just be careful on that. Okay, the last concept we're going to talk about is absolute value. Absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line. This whole slide is important, so I want you to write this whole thing down. So think about it. If I'm measuring the distance from my house to St. Mary's, I can't have a negative distance. Okay, so distance can never be negative. So therefore, when you have absolute value, your answer is negative. Is never negative. Sorry, it's never negative. It's always positive. Sometimes it's 0 if that's what we're talking about. So these two lines are our absolute value symbol. So this example, absolute value of -3 is red. The absolute value of -3. These two lines mean absolute value. Okay, so you really don't need a number line, but if you want to, you can use it. We're looking for the absolute value of 8. So here's 8. And if you count over to 0, you find that it's 8 units away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're talking distance, so it has to be positive. So the absolute value of 8 is 8. Okay, it's as easy as that. How about -12? We need to find the absolute value of -12. Here's -12 on the number line, and if you count all the way down to 0, you're 12 units away from 0. And so the absolute value of -12 is +12. It's 12 units away. Okay, so that's the whole lesson. Oopsie daisy. In a nutshell. And here's your homework. So I want you to get started on the homework. If you need to watch the video again, watch the video again and get more info. Pause it if you need to. But the homework is page 48, 17 to 39 odd. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Okay, have a good one.